actually, I think it was originally thought up by one of the European commissioners on information technology. Data as the new oil. Think about the most powerful companies. Think about Facebook or Google. Think about their business models. Facebook is free. It's a company now that's worth $100 billion on the market. Why does it have so much value if they're not selling anything? We all use it for free, but the more we use it, the more personal data they acquire about us, the more value they have. The same is true of Google. Google is free. Why is Google such a powerful company? It's an advertising company. Why is it so strong in advertising? Not only because everyone goes to Google, because the more we use Google, the more it learns about us. So again, this is a learning event in the financial sector. What you need to understand is that data isn't just about stealing people's telephone numbers or their naughty secrets or what they eat. Data is making sense of people, making sense of consumers, and then using it constructively. Because if you don't, you will be burned. Look at the history of Facebook. Every few months there's a new furor about the way in which Facebook is exploiting consumers. The new culture of the empowered consumer is one in which consumers won't put up with having their data taken advantage of. In a sense, this Snowden NSA scandal in the US is about the way in which data has been exploited. It is about a consumer rebellion against the US government. So it should be a warning towards large companies, is that if you're in the banking sector, for example, data, of course, is incredibly valuable. But you can't just take that data. You can't take it without acknowledging it. You can't take it without talking to your customers and showing respect for them. So, in this data economy, the cowboys will eventually fail. The people who steal data, the people who take advantage of us without thinking. And indeed, it's the companies now that are recognizing that, I think, in the network, that are becoming more powerful. Microsoft, for example, is doing something very interesting. In their new browser, they have a do not track feature, which is built in, respecting the fact that people don't want to be followed on the network, is, I think, becoming more and more central. And indeed, one of the things I'm seeing in Silicon Valley is the emergence of privacy-centric companies. Since the emergence of the NSA scandal, for example, a small search engine called DuckDuckGo in New York has suddenly acquired a whole lot of new followers because the whole point of using DuckDuckGo is that you don't get followed, they don't acquire your data. So when data is powerful and data is the new oil, showing respect for people's data, I think, is really important, because along with data being the new oil comes increasing consumer sensitivity. We're all understanding on Facebook, for example, that even though it's for free, we have become the product. Facebook is selling us. So the $100 billion valuation Facebook has now on the NASDAQ stock exchange is because it's able to know more and more about us and then sell us to advertisers. But I think that in the long term, that's a flawed policy. In the long term, there will be... See, Facebook knew I was drunk Diet Coke. I think in the long term, the Facebook policy, and even the Google, companies like Facebook and Google, which are dependent in a sense on mining our data, are flawed. So I think that companies like banks, for example, which do have other business models, are in a stronger position, but you need to show respect. You cannot treat data as something that you just take. Taking data without the permission of consumers is counterproductive. It's dangerous. It will destroy you in the long run. So again, just as consumers need to grow up, companies need to grow up too in terms of the way they treat data. But data mining, of course, is absolutely critical, and increasingly we're defined according to our data. Our reputations are critical as individuals. How do people check us out? How do employers, educators check us out? They go online, they look at our data. So consumers have to educate themselves. Bad decisions, stupid decisions to put drunken or inappropriate photos of themselves on Facebook or stupid tweets can result in losing jobs, losing their reputation. Data is the thing in this digital age that defines us as individuals. We need to educate our consumers about that. Consumer education from a point of view of credit is important, but more importantly, we need to educate our kids. Think of the amount of kids who are ruining their lives by posting stupid things on Facebook. Think of the way in which our reputations are shaped. Never before has this happened. The problem with the internet is it hasn't learned how to forget. And I think to make it more human, we need to teach it how to forget. But for the time being, while it doesn't know how to forget, we need to remember that and to nurture, master, shape our reputations accordingly.